love that. And before we go, you want to show me one of the most expensive seafood pieces here? Let me get my gloves on to hold it. Ali and Atco. Oh, my goodness. You didn't tell me it was a big crab. Oh, my goodness. Let me go. You want to hold it?
Look at the size of that.
Don't get too close.
It's alive, right?
It's alive.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
Looks like it just weed all over
Oh, my
it.
goodness. It's like suffocating my hand right now.
Hey, Taylor, can you give it a kiss?
Huge. Wow, we're not mucking around.
Can you give it a kiss? Oh, don't go to the front.
Give me a kiss.
Oh,
Oh, it's got my finger.
Oh, no.
It's got my finger. It's got my finger.
Oh, no, we're
It's
having
actually got my finger.
oh no.
Guys, we'll go back to you guys. It's got my
Tay.
finger.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Tay. Yeah,
Mike.
let's...
Oh, it's really clamped on there. An awkward moment on the Today Show this past week with weather presenter Taylor Haynes literally getting caught up in the action. Every Good Friday, the breakfast shows all go to the fish markets. At least she made it interesting this year. Hello, I'm television and radio host, producer Rob McKnight. With over 30 years' experience, this is Media McKnight. Some of the most powerful men in media are learning not to mess with Robin Bailey. But questions within Brisbane media circles are being raised on whether the Kiss FM Brisbane breakfast host is a poster girl for women's empowerment or just a bully, a claim she recently made against a journalist from the Courier Mail. Bailey took exception to a line included in Mike Gambero's wrap of the most recent radio survey in Brisbane, a survey which saw Robin, Kip and Corey surge 2.1 points, jumping into second place. Despite the success, the reader poll found 53% opposed their return, with Bailey also voted as Brisbane's least likely host, Gambero wrote in the piece. Well, the radio star wasn't pleased with that and hatched a revenge plan. Her producers were instructed to invite Gambero onto her radio show to talk about the ratings the following morning. Gambero, who is on the entertainment beat for the Courier Mail, accepted the invite in good faith. That's when the ambush happened.
Brisbane is a very close market. We all know that. We're all lovely friends here, and people hate change.
Now, speaking of all being friends, Michael, we couldn't help but read that in the story that you wrote yesterday, you had a fair crack at Robin.
Listen, I didn't have a fair crack at Robin.
Okay, well,
Okay.
what I've got that was put in the paper, despite the success, a Courier Mail poll found 53% opposed their return, meaning us, with Bailey also voted as Brisbane's least liked host. Why would you put that?
Because that's what the Courier Mail survey ran. But, you know, we are all friends here. And
Are we?
I think we are. I've actually pre-ordered your book.
Come on, Rob, you got to give...
Now, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
But the thing I would say to you, Mike, this is
Yeah.
honest, and
Yeah.
I'm not just here to have a crack at you, but what I will say is this weekend in the papers, tomorrow my boys and I are the front page of Q Weekend, and on Sunday you've got an exclusive extract from the book. What I don't understand with this, and I do get that this is entertainment and you're after clicks, but this should be a positive story about radio, and it's not even the facts. That to finish an article like that is just like a mean boy bully in a schoolyard. Like, why would you do that? It's so unnecessary.
So much to go through here. Did you notice the trio laughing when they knew they were about to launch into their ambush? They were enjoying it. And despite Bailey saying it was factually incorrect, well, that's just plain wrong. His reporting was on the money. The paper ran a poll, and those were the results, whether Bailey likes them or not. Gambero also included results from the poll when he was talking about other stations and their results. So she wasn't singled out, but they included a poll they did. There's nothing wrong with this. But what about the idea that he shouldn't be negative towards her because she's given an exclusive to the paper? Robin, that's not the job of a journalist. And considering Brisbane is a one-paper town, where else were you going to take it? Using the paper to promote your book isn't exactly some big PR exclusive. It's PR for you. And get this, the journo who did that interview with Bailey for that exclusive, well, they also have a book coming out. And when they asked to appear on Bailey's radio show to promote it, she firmly said no because it was competition with her book. Now, while Gambero defended his position, Bailey kept pushing back under the belief she should not face criticism.
The Courier Mail survey that was ran stated those exact numbers. And if you had,
why include it? Why include it? Why would you finish an article that should be really positive? That's a choice. You chose to put that as the last sentence. You didn't have to. It didn't add to the article. It didn't add to the ratings. What it did was take a personal swipe at me for no reason. And like, mate, I don't, like, honestly, I don't, it doesn't upset me. I'm not going to cry. I'm not, devastated by it. But I just want to call it out because that's what bullying is, my friend. When you're mean for the sake of being mean.
I don't think Robin's the victim here. I think she's the bully. More on that in a moment. But why should Gambaro's report be a positive story? He's a journalist. He's reporting the news. And personally, I think that the Courier Mail poll results are worth including to show that while there is a certain sentiment towards Robin, the ratings have shown something different. You're an on-air personality, Robin. You are not above criticism. But she went further and got the apology she demanded, but chastised him even further. Now, we're going to pick up a few seconds before that last clip finished.
Because that's what bullying is, my friend. When you're mean for the sake of being mean.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And I apologise for including that, but all I did was just...
Hey, Mike, did you try and ring Ash?
I give you credit for apologising,
Yes.
so thank you very much.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That is very good.
Did you try and ring Ash Braddon for a comment?
Unfortunately, no, I did not. But,
that would have been interesting.
Luke was very vocal on his
wasn't he?
on his social media.
No, I know.
He really was.
That was enough. That was enough of a comment there.
Hey, Mike, just trying to get a gauge on that survey where the people didn't like Rob. Do you know, like, the average person? Because obviously they were different to the radio people because we had a great ratings day. So whoever filled out that survey must be a different... who fills out those surveys?
I don't have the actual bare bones data there.
Yeah.
But it's a Courier Mail reader.
Because Courier Mail readers, whenever you read the comments on a Courier Mail story, and I'm sure it's not the Courier Mail's fault, but the people that comment on your stories are like 100% angry.
Oh, and that's half the fun, filtering through the comments.
I bet.
But unfortunately, I'm not allowed to respond to them.
Yeah.
But I would love to.
They comment on the internet because they can't do it to your face. So
true.
that's why they do it.
Anyway, Mike, this wasn't to sabotage you, but it was to legitimately ask why that would be included in an article like that. And your apology means a lot. And I thank you and give you a huge amount of credit for doing it. So
I was about to say that. That's a lot of respect to actually apologise on air. So thanks. Well done.
No, look, of course, anytime.
Now, the story was initially picked up by Mr. Brisbane, and Kiss even posted the ambush on social media under the title, Robin boldly confronts journo after unnecessary personal jab. But here's the most shocking thing of all. The editors at the Courier Mail decided to remove the offending line from the online version of the story. I reckon that's a disappointing decision that the paper also allowed itself to be bullied. And I use the term bullying. I approached Robin for comment about this story. She's ignored every approach. The audio has been shared around Brisbane media circles, with many holding the opinion Bailey was actually the bully in this situation, the exact same claim she made about Gambero. In fact, I've heard that some within ARN reached out to Gambero to make sure he was okay, as did many media people. How is what Bailey and her team did here any different to the royal nurse prank call that went terribly wrong in 2012? At least the hosts of that show didn't set out to publicly embarrass someone. It was a situation where things got out of control. But here, Robin Bailey chose to get someone on her show under false pretenses to ambush them. Then she used her celebrity power to bully a young journo who hasn't been a journo for long. And why did she do it? Because he included a line about a poll result that she didn't like. Bailey has a history of using her powerful position behind the microphone to put people in their place, especially men. Back in January, she chastised her newly installed boss, Michael Stevenson, for sacking her and her team, only to reinstate them 2 weeks later. Steve-O turned up to the outside broadcast to confront the music, and Bailey, well, she didn't hold back.
But in that process, because for us, from the sign-off till the call was almost 2 weeks, and at what point did you realise that this was a really dumbass decision.
Thanks for that.
When did you... Dumbass, Steve.
Now, on this occasion, hats off to Bailey for holding her boss to account. Presumably, he knew he would be heading into a hostile situation. But it's a very different thing to ambush a young journo on the entertainment beat who simply included a bit of fluff about a poll the paper ran. I can promise you, Robin, I wouldn't have backed down so easily. I wouldn't have apologised. When you hold power to account, as you do, Robin, you are a hero. But when you punch down from a position of power, you're a bully. So, Robin, here's some free advice. Don't be a bully, be a hero. As Karl and Jackie O head to court, there's one person who's laughing all the way to the bank. And no, I'm not talking about the lawyers. Media Week reports former CEO Kieran Davis, the man who did that $200 million deal with Karl and Jackie O, was paid over $2.1 million after stepping down. That was up from $1.6 million the year before. And it's fair to say things have gone to shit since then. The K&J experiment was struggling in Melbourne and revenues were suffering due to the ongoing campaign by the mad effing witches, even before Davies left. And speaking of the mad effing witches, they've been taking a lot of credit for the downfall of Karl and Jackie O. It seems they might have good reason to. According to Callum Jaspin at Nine Newspapers, ARN's new CEO, Michael Stevenson, met the duo's fiercest critics just weeks before the contracts were torn up. And as pointed out on Media Spy, the group posted this message shortly after Karl and Jackie O were sacked. "We fucking did it. We can't believe it." Later on, the post said, "Rest assured, witches, the mainstream media won't credit us with this win, but we know the truth. And we have reason to believe our involvement in this demise is even greater than we can currently say. But we hope to be able to do so soon." That would seem to make this case even more messier, and I'm sure will form part of the upcoming trial, with Karl's hearing set for June. And speaking of ARN, what does the future hold for the company that's seen a massive decline in its share price? Well, judging by reporting this week in the diary section of the Oz, I'd suggest a swing towards talkback radio could be on the cards. Steve Jackson reports Karl Stefanovic has signed a memorandum of understanding to join ARN at the end of the year when his contract with Nine expires. Jackson also reports former radio titan Ray Hadley has been invited for a coffee and a chat about his future. As too have other names, including Ben Fordham and Samantha Armitage. And this makes sense. What is the future of FM radio? I can get music anywhere. If you have a Spotify account, Apple Music, Amazon, anything, you can get the music you want when you want it. So what makes radio stand out? Why do I want to listen? Well, Karl and Jackie O's audience were listening for them. A lot of them are now saying they have left radio altogether. They'll listen to podcasts or music or anything else. They were turning up each day for them. That's not the case anymore. So personalities look set to drive radio going forward. And I would suggest it's the talk format that has the biggest chance of engaging that audience on a long-term basis. Again, I can get music anywhere, but can I get personalities? And it's not just the light fluff we're talking about, whether it's, have you had a bad coffee? Let us know. We're talking about the issues that grab people, that connect with people. Karl and Jackie O connected with people. Ben Fordham connects with people. Ray Hadley, Karl Stefanovic, Samantha Armitage. These aren't light, breezy FM hosts. They're talkback hosts. So maybe ARN is thinking it's time for a shift. And I think that would be a very smart move. Television lobby group Free TV has raised concerns over the federal government's sweeping reforms to gambling advertising. The industry body said new caps on wagering ads could hit the revenue that funds news, sport and local content, urging the government to follow through with promised support. The Prime Minister announced big changes to the way gambling would be advertised during a speech at the National Press Club last week.
Between 6 a.m. and 8:30 p.m, we will cap the number of TV ads for betting agencies at a maximum of 3 per hour. We will ban all gambling ads on radio during school pickup and drop-off. We will ban cross-promotion content that mixes commentary with odds. We'll end advertising on jerseys and jumpers and in stadiums. And we'll ban online advertising unless the user is verified as being over 18 and has the ability to opt out. Just as importantly, we will block illegal offshore gaming sites and ban online Keno-type products, the so-called pocket pokies, which represent a huge percentage of Australian gambling losses. And we will keep building on the success of BetStop, promoting and strengthening a program that is changing lives.
Some reports suggest the changes could hurt the NRL, with the crackdown on gambling advertising threatening to torpedo the NRL's aspirations of securing a record TV rights deal. The Australian suggests the expected drop in betting companies' promotional revenue is likely to soften media companies' offers for the sport's next broadcast contract. And they're right. 7 and 9 would have factored in the sports betting side of revenue to help them do their bid for the NRL and later the AFL. The NRL rights are just around the corner. Peter V'landys wants a mega deal. He wants to break all records. This will hurt. And unless he can get streaming giants to really get in and bid for the rights, we could actually see them go down. Although, my gut is 7 wants the State of Origin and Grand Finals, whereas 9 wants the lot. And what about Foxtel? This is going to be interesting. The changes also see celebrities and sports stars banned from appearing in commercials and odd-style promotions. Well, that's very vague. What constitutes a celebrity in the age of social media? Is it only people who appear on television? Is it sporting stars? And what level does their fame kick in? Is it people with a YouTube page who have something of a following? That's a very vague and dangerous law to be putting into this. But as far as gambling goes, I know there's a lot of people who want gambling ads to disappear completely. This isn't like the 80s when tobacco was banned. This will hurt local TV production. Advertising revenues are already diminishing. There is more people taking a piece of the pie. We're seeing budgets cut across all networks. We're seeing Channel 10 losing millions of dollars each year. This is not going to be good for local television, and the government will either have to step up and support them or really look for alternatives. You can show your support for the show by buying me a coffee. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/McKnight tonight. Every bit helps keep this show from our garage going. Here comes McKnight tonight. You know, I think Michael Usher must believe in The Secret, because he seems to be slowly manifesting his desire to take over Channel 7's 6 p.m. news. This week, we found out Mark Ferguson and Angela Cox have been reduced to just 4 nights per week, Sunday to Thursday, with Michael Usher and Angie Azimus upping their duties to 3 nights per week. Now, what makes this story so fascinating is the reporting. There's no doubt this one has been given to the telly, but it's the spin that really has me questioning the motives. The article talks about the fact there's been a modest lift since Usher and Azimus took over the Thursday night slot. That's not the kind of data a PR department would usually hand out, as it isn't really good news for Mark Ferguson and Angela Cox, the stars, or the supposed stars. Although I do notice the focus is on Fergo and not Cox, almost like someone was trying to protect her. So, is it the network trying to discredit their star anchors? Or did the drop come from someone who has something to gain? Because here's the thing. State-based figures aren't publicly available under the new total TV ratings. So someone on the inside had to give that data to reporter Brianna Domjan. Considering 7 didn't seem to want to make a big deal about this, a big song and dance about this change, let's just say I have my suspicions on who leaked the story. McKnight Tonight celebrated its 100th episode last week, and to celebrate, I asked my dear friend Ida Buttrose to come on and talk about the future of the media. Look, it was a fascinating conversation from someone who has been across all aspects. Now, while I had her, I asked the former chair about what she thinks about the ABC at the moment, starting with the recent strike action.
Well, I think people go on strike when they're unsure. And because it's an uncertain world, and probably because there are a lot of changes happening at the ABC, they're restive. And you've got to understand that about. They're creative people, and creative people can get very tense when things are changing. And I think they're just not sure of the direction of the ABC and whether their jobs are going to be safe.
And now that you've moved away from the ABC, what do you think about what you're seeing on the channel? Because I know you're fiercely loyal. I'm sure you're still watching the ABC and mentally taking notes. What are your thoughts on how the ABC is travelling?
Well, it's travelling as only the ABC can travel. Provocatively.
Ita, are you holding back?
No, I'm not going to comment. I mean,
Fair enough.
You don't need previous chairs telling the ABC how it should be run. There's enough people telling the ABC what it should be doing. But I think the ABC is an important part of our social fabric. And we need a public broadcaster. And I think as a public broadcaster, it fulfills that need particularly well.
I agree with that. When you're in the ABC, does it feel like you're constantly under attack? You know, News Corp, Sky News, they do pick apart the ABC, rightly or wrongly. But does it feel like the organisation is always under attack when you're on the inside?
Well, when you've been in this business for as long as I have, you get used to that. But I think the troops, if I can call them that, the troops get a bit sensitive. And you just have to learn to live with that criticism. They're always going to nitpick the ABC. News Corp is a perfect example of that. They seem to be expert at picking up, identifying problems with the ABC. But, you know, I do think there's room for everybody, and we shouldn't discriminate against one another because we have enough problems, and we should all work together for the future of the industry.
It really was a fascinating interview, and if you'd like to see more of it, just go to youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. And now it's time for this week's edition of Shit I Just Don't Care About. Melbourne AFL legend Garry Lyon has apologised to Social Services Minister Tanya Plibersek for calling her the minister for bullshit during a commercial break that was accidentally posted online. Lyon, alongside Fox Footy AFL 360 co-host Gerard Wheatley, were chatting with former Sydney coach John Longmire during an ad break. The entire episode was posted to a third-party website, and unfortunately for them, that also included the studio feed during the commercial break. This clip picks up just as the show goes to break.
Jerry, Gary.
Hello, Horse. How are you, mate?
Hello. Yeah, good, good.
Nice. The flag's flying again at Sydney. He's back in residence, I see.
Nice. Who were you dining with last week? I've heard many reports.
Well, I spent the day at Parliament House meeting with ministers, and then caught up with Sam Mostyn, our Governor General. Spent a bit of time with Sam.
Right.
Couldn't be better. Outfits, and then we're into Carlton.
Jeez, have a look at Horse. Very regal. Regal looking Horse.
What's Tanya Plibersek the minister for at the moment? Where... No, don't look it up. I was just asking from you off the top of your head.
I can look it up.
No.
That was it. Someone said, "What's she the minister for?" And he said, "Bullshit." I wouldn't have had a problem if that went to air. It's an offhanded, funny remark. It's been blown up, and I really couldn't give a shit. And if that clip's missing, it means I've had to trim it out because of a YouTube copyright issue. But I'll be fighting it, don't you worry. So hopefully you got to see that. And it led to apologies all round. Managing Director of Fox Sports, Steve Crawley, issued an official apology saying the comment does not reflect our values and standards and was disrespectful to the minister and the hard work that all politicians do in representing our community. Lyons is also quoted in the statement saying, "I apologise personally to Minister Plibersek. While the comment was meant in jest, it was clearly disrespectful, and I am sorry for the embarrassment it has caused." Really? I get why they have to capitulate. There's lobbying going on all the time with the government. She's in the government. They want her support, plus everyone else, for getting the reforms and the elements of gambling or funding, government funding that they want for Fox Sports. I just think it's weak. I couldn't give a shit that he called her the minister for bullshit. Maybe she is. Maybe it's a funny joke. Like, really. Let's just put things in perspective. And on that note, that brings us to the end of this edition of Media McKnight. Now, for those who missed the memo, episodes are now released at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. For those in New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania, it means you can now watch McKnight Tonight at the earlier time of 8 p.m. and Media McKnight at 8 p.m. And don't forget, when it comes to Media McKnight, paid members get early access as soon as the episodes are available. Just go to youtube.com/@McKnightTonight. I'm Rob McKnight. I hope to see you again next week. Cheers.